Well, hello and welcome to the fourth and final video in my Christmas Quartet. This one's a double feature, and we're starting off with this elderly Corgi Chevrolet Impala. It's the taxi variant that I think they did a saloon and various other ones as well. As you can see, this car has had a hell of a life. It's been yellow, it's been black, it's probably been the Batmobile in somebody's imagination at some point. The screen is cracked, the beacon's missing off the top, the tyres are missing. But I thought it deserved a second chance with the festive season. Try and see what we can do with it. 3 rivets in the bottom. Shortly we'll get this one drilled open and see what the mysteries of the contents are inside. I'm not expecting too many surprises, to be quite honest. Got it drilled, popped the case open, bit of rust on the peg that holds the suspension components in place. It's the usual vac formed interior. I mean, they couldn't have made that plastic much thinner if they'd tried, I don't think. The poor old windscreen's in a shocking state. I really don't know what, if anything, I'm going to be able to do with that. Might end up trying to order a new one, I'm not sure. There's the stub of the beacon there, still stuck in the roof. So I'll get hold of the scribe and try and poke that out, see whether I can get rid of it. A bit of limited persuasion. Should come out, there we go, that's that out of the way. Yeah, clearly it's been a yellow taxi back in the day. Quite knocked it back. The pillars are all there. Quite often they're missing on these, or they're bent. But on closer examination they seem okay. It's just pretty, shall we say, play worn. So I've had it in the caustic, given it a bit of a scrub up with a Dremel and the sanding disc. And we're onto a bit of primer here. Priming the base first, base coat Sealer Grey, because it matches pretty closely the original colour of the base plates on these. So I'm going to put the base coat Sealer Grey on and not do any more with that. This one I've used base coat Sealer Dark because ultimately I'm going to paint it gold, and the base coat Sealer Dark is an excellent ground for the gold metallic, which I believe is a jacquard. I'm going to be using a jacquard paint on it. Just making sure I've got all the edges and the bottoms of the sills so nothing shows through after when the gold paint is on. There we go, a few coats of the gold and it's come up pretty nice, quite pleased with that. And I'm just blowing on now. I need to coat clear so that I can handle the model and put the detail on the headlamps and so on and so forth without having to go through and lacquer the whole thing. Just making sure under the lights that I've got good coverage, because metallics can be tricky. You think you've nailed it all, and because of the reflective nature of them, when you get them out into the daylight, it's a bit thin in some place, or you maybe even put too much on. There's a thing called metallic orientation, which you have to concern yourself with on full-size cars. To a lesser extent on this size, but it still does matter that the paint pretty much travels the same way. Otherwise you end up with some horrible splodges. Just a little bit of detailing on here. I've done the bumper and the headlamps. I'm just putting some highlights on the grille. And the chrome around the back lights, and then I'll put the red in afterwards. Clearly it's speeded up footage, as we've said on many occasions, if only I could paint this fast. Culture Hustle mirror finish paint I'm using here. Not sponsored by any of these companies, unfortunately, but if anybody ever wants to give me anything for nothing, I'm a grateful sort of fella, and I shall also always say thank you very much nicely. What's the last two corners to go now? And that's that. Yep, give the mirror time to dry off, and then I'll go back in and I'm just going to start to fix some decals here. Some more homemade decals. In keeping with my kind of Christmas theme, I've decided to call my made-up taxi company Wiseman's Luxury Cars. As I say, homemade decals on the inkjet printer. Straightforward enough. I recommend that you try. Don't need any special equipment. If you've got a home printer, you're in business. So I've been fixing it on with a micro set red, so that it'll take the moulding. It'll go in. It kind of folds into the moulding on the door of the Impala. There's three little narrow moulded lines, and it helps the plastic kind of sink into the lines and stick better. Helps prevent silvering later. So on the other side now, same story. Assembly time now. I've already popped the windscreen into place. I did order a replacement one. It turned up. It wasn't even within a million miles of a fit. I don't know whether it was for a different version of the Impala or whether it was simply a bad casting. I'm really not sure, but either way, I was kind of stuck and in a time crunch with it coming up to Christmas. So what I did was polished it up as best as I could, and I decided to spray the back two windows and the rear screen black and kind of make it into a privacy film type of idea. Just popping the rivets in the base now, over the counter replacement rivets. Super glue them in place. If I do get a good screen, it shouldn't be too difficult to get them back out again and redo it anyway. I've ended up doing this a couple of times before, and a bit of gentle prising and they'd seem to pop apart fairly easily. So I've made a homemade taxi beacon for it at this point, and just that left to a fix, and we're in business. There we go, my little taxi flag. I'll just line it up with me nose so I can make sure I get it somewhere near the middle. Well, we weren't going to go on first time anyway, was it? Not for anybody's money. I just 3 drops of super glue in the tweezers, and we should be done. There we go. Quick shot with the zip kicker to make sure it doesn't run away on me. Quick tweak on the aerial. Still rolls. And there we go. That's the end of the Christmas Quartet. Or is it? We've got a bonus section here now of a Dinky Leyland Comet. Right, they're made from round about 1957. This one was originally a cement lorry. Martin Dare of Martin Dare's Diecast Restorations, I think, did one of these a little while back. Only a matter of a few weeks. And I'll just be putting the Christmas twist on this one as well. It's easy enough to get apart. There was a nut and bolt holding the back section in place. Not the right nut and bolt, and again I hadn't got the correct replacement, so I've had to use what I've got on the finished job, and I'll replace that at a later point. I need a countersunk I need a countersunk machine screw for it and I don't have one. So that's all blown apart. Mega overpainted. It's had a very hard life indeed. Those tyres should actually be grey. Well, looks like I'm ordering some new tyres for this one. Hopefully they'll turn up in time for Christmas. So having stripped it and primed it, I'm going on now with a base coat sealer white, and then I'll follow up with a coat of a sparklescent white, which gives it that nice kind of icing sugar look. Base coat sealer white on the cab here now, and that's going to be a ground coat for Tamiya red that I'm using on this particular occasion. Quite fond of using that one. I've used it on a few projects just lately. Just making sure I've got plenty on underneath the cab. And coming in now with the sparklescent white for the truck bed. This is a nice colour. It's an Auto Air one. I don't know if it's discontinued, but it's not called Auto Air anymore. I think it might be either a Wicked or a Kratex colour. But this one is a nice, kind of almost like a metallic white, if there can be such a thing. Nice light coats on that. And now we're back in with the Tamiya red on the main body of the truck and the bed. Goes on well at Tamiya. I hadn't used the biggest user of Tamiya at one time, but I've gotten quite fond of using it lately. And thankfully it's readily available locally for me, rather than constantly ordering stuff on the internet. You didn't see me just wipe that with my finger, that was a trick of the light. I've built it up in some nice light coats now and it's come out pretty well. I must say that one of the saving graces of Tamiya for me is it dries extraordinarily quickly. And now we're just on to placing the decals. I guess again these are custom made decals. I decided to call my cement company Arctic Circle rather than Blue Circle to fit in with my kind of Christmas theme. And there's a greeting on the top, Merry Christmas from Arctic Circle Cement. When I was a kid, it wasn't uncommon to see big companies with a float at Christmas time with a kind of fake Santa on the back waving to you and what have you. And it's just the inspiration behind this idea. Usual story, just swab it off a little bit with the Q-tip. And we're in business. I'm just about to put the one on the tailboard now with the help of a box of Cybermen. Again, another custom made decal. I printed a few different variations to see what I liked. The Snow Chem is what it actually says on the back of the original model, but I added Santa recommends, I think, and tough enough even for the North Pole or something along those lines, just to give it a bit of a twist. Add to the kind of festive element of it. So then again with the Microsolve red. And I decided to go with the red option for the sign. It kind of fitted in with the colour scheme well. Balanced out all the white on the tail board and the on the flatbed. And straighten it up a little bit there, dry it out with a Q-tip. Mopping up the excess. I think we're in business with that one. Little bit of detailing on the cab now. I've already done the bumper and some odds and ends on the sides, suspension units, petrol tank and what have you. I'm just doing a small section of the grille just to set it off, highlight it, and the headlamps and the indicators. Again, I'm using that Culture Hustle mirror paint. It is an enamel, bit slow drying, but I have given myself a bit of time on this one, so I can afford to wait for it to dry off. And then I'll put a kind of bluish white tint on the headlamps and hopefully just leave the chrome outer ring showing. It's time consuming, but ultimately it's kind of satisfying on these small things. I think it just gives them a bit of pop. Just in the centre divider now, down the middle of the the middle of the grille section, and I'll pick out the cross piece as well. But I'm not going to go into the individual finials on the radiator cover. I don't think it needs it. I think this is just sufficient to give it a bit of life. Assembly time now. Nice straightforward little assembly, this one, and as luck would have it, the replacement tyres turned up just in time. I've just collected them off the postie, snip the bag open and get them in place. Nice little eBay purchase. I forget the guy's name, but it's from down in Somerset. A very nice product that he does. I've bought off him a few times, and not too badly priced either. And luckily enough for me, considering the state of things and the postage, they turned up just on time. So thanks very much for that one. 4 nice new tyres. There is actually meant to be a spare on this one, but it was missing. I will eventually replace it with one, but I didn't think it was that necessary for the kind of Christmas effect I was going for. I think the grey tyres do kind of work well with the rest of the colour scheme and the red rims. Throw down once a go. Assembly straightforward enough. Front axle drops into the 2 little forks. And there's this metal plate which I polished up and re-lacquered. I thought it looked quite nice like that, rather than dash a lot of paint over it, which is what it was like when I got it. I couldn't speak to what the original was like because I've not seen one. bit snug because of the layers of paint. A little gentle persuasion, and we're in. Drop the wheels back in the slot, and it just lines up. 2 tabs line up with 2 slots in the pickup bed, and then just bend the tabs down flat with a pair of grips or screwdriver, whatever you find handiest. Got away with that one with the screwdriver, but I think I used that. I think I have better judgment on the next one, and bust out the pliers. And there we go, second one in place. Probably give it a tap with the back of the screwdriver just to make sure it's all the way home. I'll give you a tip: don't lean too hard on the bed, because they will crack and come away from the cab if you're not careful. The separate bed in place. This is the incorrect screw which was with the thing when I bought it, and I did order some countersunk screws, but once again they didn't turn up on time, unfortunately. So I'll pop this one in for now and wait for the other ones to turn up in the post after Christmas, I expect. I think you could best describe this as a snug fit. Whether it was ever the right thread in the first place, I'm not entirely sure. I don't know whether they would use Whitworth, BA or metric on something this old. Could be anything. All British products. But I've sent for a metric screw, and I'll just tap it if need be. Well, there we go. And look, it's a roller, and we're ready for the reveal. And here we are with our Christmas scene, all dressed up and nowhere to go. Got Santa on the back there waving at the crowd. And look, I didn't let you into the secret till the end. I actually did 3 Impalas, because everyone knows at Christmas you need 3 wise men. I hope you enjoyed the video. I hope you'll come back and watch some of my other stuff. Please like and subscribe, and I'll see you all in the new year. Thank you and goodbye.